When Ramrai told me about about this particular lecture series, he told me that I can do a book review. So I agreed to it, and I said the best book that I can do on a leader would be about Bhausaheb Bandodkar, for the simple reason, whatever he has done, meaning he is a person, or he was a person before 1963. Nobody, meaning he was known as a mine owner, he was known as a philanthropist. uh, However, he was a newcomer in the field of politics, but the way he came, it is like he came, he saw, he conquered. And not just for one election, but consecutively he was the CM for 3 elections, right from 1963 to 1972. And he would have continued, but he died in office. He is also the first CM to die in office in August 1972. So his would be, I thought that his would be the best way to start. How a ordinary person can become a mass leader, can forget about mass leader, can become a very, very popular leader. Because as I read about him, I realized that there were a lot of the first elections were okay, the second and the third elections, there were a lot of criticisms on Bandodkar himself, because the party to which he belonged, it actually supported the merger of Goa with Maharashtra. But the voting, the opinion poll said otherwise. And though Bandodkar accepted it, though Bhausaheb accepted it, the party took a little longer time to accept. And that point was taken over by opposition to, criticize him and whatever. So how he overcame all these problems, and what made him the mass leader, that is all we are going to see today. Unfortunately, there is not much writing on our first CM. We have just 2-3 books and the newspaper articles. We have to bring forth more books on this personality. So that's my personal opinion. So yes, I'll start. First of all, I'll go to the leadership qualities. Since this is the Center for Political Leadership, let us see what makes a person into a leader. What are the leadership qualities that a person has to have? And it is very, very relevant in present day, for the simple reason, everybody over here is leader. But what are the qualities that makes you a people's man, or a leader of the people? So these are the bookish actually definition, the qualities of leadership. A leader is the one who encourages, motivates his team. So you are a team person. Okay, you are not supposed to do anything for yourself, but you are supposed to work as a team towards a particular goal. A team has a particular goal. In politics, it is working towards the betterment of people. If you are aiming for standing and representing people in assembly or Lok Sabha, your goal is to represent the people of the state, to work towards their betterment. So along with your team, that is your party, your aim is to encourage, motivate the other people to work towards the betterment of the people, to work towards the party's goal, to take up new challenges. Then focus should be not on self development, but on the development of the people, development of image of the party. Learn from the mistakes, not only which your party made in the past, but also from the surroundings. And if there is a mistake, don't go for destructive criticism, but go for go for constructive criticism. And this is one quality which we very, very rarely see in the present time. In the present time, if you read the newspaper, if you see the media, even the party people are very much criticizing each other. And that too, the language is all you already know what kind of language they use. So in that scenario, or in that thing, how Dayanand Bandodkar handled his criticism, party's criticism, and how he, especially in face of second and third election, how he overcame that is very, very important. Effective communication is also important. Listening, that is the most important quality. Listening to the problems of the people, listening to your party members, to the suggestion. You cannot be you cannot be a dictator when you are leading a party, or when you are a party leader, or when you are representing the people. You cannot be a dictator. You have to have a listening ear, and that's what will bring you closer to the people. Then providing solution to the problem, very, very essential. When a problem arises, when there is a situation uh, because of which people look towards you to find a solution, you are not supposed to delegate your work to other people around you. You are supposed to try to be leading one's way towards the solution. You are supposed to be the one who would suggest different ideas, and from that ideas you might perhaps, with the help of your team, with the help of your party, would come to a particular suggestion. If the party agenda is working towards a particular, like during the first election in Goa, the main problem was that of land problem, the settlement of land. There was this Bhatkar and Munkar going on. Bhatkar and Munkar meaning the landowners and the tenants. So that struggle was going on, and this thing, and MGP, that is Maharashtrabadi Gomantak party, they took up that particular issue. Not only they took up that particular issue, they also worked to find a solution. That is, Bhausaheb, before even swearing in, he tried to get to the solution of this particular problem. Then you have another quality which is again very, very rare to find, and recently we also have the example: respect others regardless of the position. And again, the best example here would be Dayanand Bandodkar. How he belonged to one party. There were opposition parties who were criticizing him during the election time, who was saying all the bad things, you can say, in the softer note, on he accusing him of misappropriating his position and this and that. But he stood calm, no criticism, nothing on other party. On the other hand, he actually gave them the due respect that they deserve, especially when it came to Indian National Congress. He gave them the due respect that they deserve. Of course, we will come to that later on. Delegate work and take accountability for failure if the things do not work out. If your party fails to do something, then as a party leader, you are the person who has to take accountability for it. Again, you cannot blame your party workers or somebody that because of them we have failed and this and that. And most importantly, you have to be very, very passionate about the work that you do. That means you have to have, when you are calling yourself a leader, you have to have that particular connect with the people. So now let us see a little bit about the background of Bhausaheb Bandodkar. For the simple reason, he was not before 1963, he was not a name who was well known in Goan politics. He was a mine owner. He came from a very humble, simple background. But from 1950s onward, the mining helped him, wealthy. And from 1915 onwards, he was known for his philanthropist work. He believed in giving to the society whatever he earned or whatever, and he did not believe in keeping accounts. When I was reading about Bhausaheb Bandodkar, this was something which struck me. This quality was something which struck me. He never advertised what he did for the people, what he spent for the people. He never believed in keeping accounts, which is again a very very rare quality in today's time. Even if you donate 5 rupees, the whole issue is is splashed on the newspaper on the front page. That is the today's time, in today's time. But during 1963, here was a person who donated his income, his salary, his weekly income, whatever he got, not only to people in Goa but outside Goa also, and for the sake of country also. So he was known before election itself, he was known, and that connect he had with the people. He was known for his patronage for social, economic, religious temple. The Ganpati temple at Farmagudi is the testament to his patronage to religious structures. Then another thing about him was he had no prior experience in politics. He was completely a newcomer. And actually, he should be a very, very good example to all the newcomers today who are, trying to be a part of the political field. Uh, Bandodkar is the best example that no prior experience, but still till today he is one of the most popular CM of Goa, Chief Minister of Goa. However, he had the ability to manage party differences. There were differences, meaning not in the first election, but second election, third election, the party differences arose. The members in MGP itself, they started fighting. Some of them left the party, joined the other party. Some of them contested elections independently, thinking that their MGP status in the past would win them the election, but that did not become reality. However, Bandodkar on the other side, being the party leader, he handled it very nicely, and he was the crisis manager, so as to say, especially during the time of election. Now let us come to what made Bandodkar win, or what made Bandodkar win or come or become the CM itself in the first election. Now, Goa got liberated in 1961 December. Then for 2 years, you have rule of governor with his with his you can say 2-3 people, and then Pandit Nehru promised, the Prime Minister promised that Goa would go for election. And in 1963, in 1962 you had panchayat elections, and in 1963 you had the first election in Goa. Now, which were the parties that contested this election? First, of course, was the party led by Dayanand Bandodkar, which was Maharashtravadi Gomantak Paksha. Then you had United Govans Party, and third party, the most popular party, which was sure short of winning the election, was Indian National Congress. The people who contested on the Congress ticket were well-known faces, well-known names in Goa. They belong to upper classes. They belong to, the group of freedom fighters who had taken active part in the liberation of Goa. And they were very well known. And Indian National Congress was at the center. It was a ruling party at the center. Pandit Nehru had come to Goa the previous year, that is in 1962, and the way the people, came and met him during his public meetings, National Congress was very much confident that the first elections are going to go in their favor. So they were very cool about it. They concentrated on taking public meeting, calling, just like now you had the elections and all the big shots came to Goa to address the public meeting. In the same way, Indian National Congress concentrated on calling the Congress leaders of the time and holding public meetings and this and that. What they missed was the connect to the villages. They concentrated on urban areas, and Bandodkar worked on the villages. And that was how he managed to get the support of the people. He had realized one thing. Gandhiji always said India is in the villages, not in the cities. It is in the villages. And Bandodkar had realized this right in the beginning. He had also realized that the most of the people in Goa, the urban people knew about the election. They were literate, they were educated, they knew about the elections. However, the people who did not know about the elections, they were the majorities. They were the downtrodden, they were the people who worked in the fields, they were the people who owned small businesses, they were the downtrodden people, they were the illiterate people of Goa. And if you hold the public meetings before them, if you show them the pamphlets and this and that, they are not going to understand the concept of election. So what was needed was going, meeting them, mixing with them, telling them the concept of election, explaining them about the voting process. And this was what Bandodkar and his party members did. It's very surprising that in the first election, Bandodkar did not contest the election. He was supposed to, contest it from Panjim, but then he gave up his seat to, Praja Socialist Party candidate with whom MGP had formed alliance during that time. So he did not contest the election, but being the leader of the winning party, he was called to be the chief minister of Goa. So a strategy of Bandodkar was that he went in the villages, he met the people. Mock elections were held during that time, explaining the people the process and everything about the election. And that is how he could talk to people about their problems, understand the problems of the people. And that became the manifesto of Maharashtravadi Gomantak Paksh during the first election. And on the other hand, Congress was very confident about winning, because the people who contested were well known, whereas Bandodkar had made ordinary people. One person was a person who was a farmer. So he had made ordinary people contest the elections on the MGP ticket, or MGP seat. So that is how the Bandodkar strategy was: meeting the people, going to them, talking to them, understanding their problems, whereas Congress was all about people in urban areas. The result was totally unexpected. MGP, along with Praja Socialist Party, they won the majority of seats. There were about total 30 seats. Majority of seats were won by MGP. The Congress was banking on the well-known faces during that time, who surprisingly had participated in the freedom struggle of Goa also, in the liberation of Goa also. They had to face defeat. Some of them lost their deposit. That was the plight of Congress after the first election. So overconfidence was something which went against the Congress during this time. They had not understood the one thing, the basic thing that Bandodkar had understood, and that was, to win the election, to get the support of the masses, you have to connect with the masses. And masses do not live in urban areas, but they are the illiterate poor, whom we call as Bahujan Samaj. Okay, they are the people who lived in the villages, and you have to have a connect with them. Not of course the urban masses will understand, and they know about the election process. They are well educated. The people whom you need to connect is with the village people, and that was his strategy. That was the way he led the way into the first election, came out as a winning party, and along with the the other party members, he formed the government. He was called to form the government, and he became the chief minister. Now, before becoming the, even after becoming the chief minister, Bandodkar had two things which he had promised the people. The first one was the land reforms, and the second one was, of course, what Maharashtravadi Gomantak party was all about. Sorry. And that was about merger of Goa with Maharashtra. The first promise that he had made to the people, uh, this Bhausaheb saw to it that he started working on it even before he was sworn in as chief minister. The minute it was realized that MGP had won and they would be forming the government, the land reform, he had already started his work on land reform. Whereas on the second, that is like merger of Goa with Maharashtra, it did take a little bit of time. But when the opinion poll was held, the people did not show any inclination to get Goa merged with with Maharashtra. They decided to remain independent. Goa was meant to be a union territory at that particular time. So this was a big blow to MGP party and the party members. However, Bandodkar took it everything in his stride. He accepted the verdict of the people, and continued with his what you call it, policies towards, or economic policies or whatever, towards the betterment of Goa. He accepted that the people uh, did not want to merge with Maharashtra. So he accepted the verdict of the people, and he continued in the same way he used to work earlier, before the election, before the opinion poll took place. Now, because of this, in the second election, uh, the opposition criticized Maharashtravadi Gomantak party because they had stood for the merger. Now merger did not happen. People wanted Goa to be independent of Maharashtra and remain a union territory. So according to the opposition, uh, Maharashtravadi party should resign. The members should resign. They criticized Bandodkar, high and low, but Bandodkar stood firm. He was the second elections came in the year 1967, and Bandodkar was very, very confident about his victory. There was opposition to his rule again, continuing as CM, but he stood firm, and in the second election he did contest. In the second election, what he promised the people of Goa was that they had already seen his working. What he promised in the second election was a clean and stable government, which was the need of the hour during that time, and economic development of Goa. Again, people voted, even with the criticisms that were leveled on him and this and that. People again voted Bandodkar to power. He became CM for the second time. His strategy during this election was, and he had the guts, and that is another quality of leadership. When today we see jumping of people from one party to another, and the same party which he had left going back to that party, and that party accepting him or her wholeheartedly just because they are sure of winning the seats for them. here was the person who did not give the candidature for those people who had left the party in between 1963 to 1967, who had who did not serve the party, who left the party in between. He did not give candidature to them. All the people were denied of election ticket except for one, and he selected the candidate again. He himself went and selected the candidate based on their qualification, based on their what you call it, merit of serving the people, of serving the party. So he had the guts to do that, and that is also another quality of leadership. No, he was not afraid of losing, because never aspired self development. It was always for Goa, it was always for the people of Goa, whom we during that time they were known as Bahujan Samaj. They were the people who belonged to the Bandari Samaj, they were the Kharvis, the Gaudas, the Gomantak Marathas. So these were the people who belonged to that particular Bahujan Samaj category. So working towards the development of downtrodden, that was the goal of Bandodkar throughout all the three elections. In the third election also, we see the same thing. In the second election, Indian National Congress did not contest, but in the third election, it came back because there were many people previously belonging to MGP and all, who had come in Congress. They contested on Congress ticket or contested independently, thinking that their previous experiences or their previous name linked with MGP would give them, you know, winning seat, but that did not happen. During the election time, again during the third election time, they criticized Bandodkar for his policies. They called him selfish. They called him a person who misappropriated his power, this, that. But the election results showed them that the people of Goa were not ready to listen to any criticism against their Bhau. He was fondly called as Bhau because of this particular connection to the people. Because even with all the criticism, the people of Goa stood firm behind him. Again, in the third election, the Indian National Congress leveled criticism, and Bandodkar, on the other hand, while giving public speeches, he remained calm, cool, on top. He said that he, was a congressman at heart. He respected the ideology of Congress. He respected their contribution towards the freedom struggle. Okay, he even went to the extent of saying that he would love to join Congress also. Of course, that did not happen, but he never criticized his opposition. That was also another quality which made him very, very popular with the people, because people were listening to the speeches of all the leaders from all the parties. All of them were critical about each other, here, there, everywhere. And other than except for Bhausaheb Bandodkar, who never criticized. He only spoke about the work that his government has done in the past, the work that his government will do if they were elected once again. And with respect, he also, acknowledged the contribution of other leaders in India as well as in Goa. So that is also another quality which made him a mass leader. Another thing, in the third election, because of his criticism openly in his public meetings, he asked people to come forward and discuss about the achievements and failures of his government. Nobody would dare to, but Bandodkar did that. He asked the people to come forward and tell him if the government lacked somewhere, if the government had fallen short about any of their promises, if there was something else that they wanted to see in Goa for their upliftment, for economic prosperity, for educational purpose in the educational field. So he openly in the public meetings, when again the third time the elections were held, he openly asked the people to come forward and discuss with him the achievements of the government. Avoided completely confronting the opposition in a very, very bad manner. He avoided that completely. Moreover, he was very, very respectful towards the opposition. Again, the result was the same thing. The people voted Bandodkar as well as MGP in full strength. And again, for the third time, you have Dayanand Bandodkar becoming the CM of Goa. And he remained in office till his death. So you see a rise of a person from 1963 to 1972. You see the rise of a person, 1973 actually, you see a rise of a person who was not a known face in Goa, who was not as famous as the people who were contesting election either on United Goans Party or on the Congress seats, because they were very well known. Most of them had worked for liberation of Goa, or in the Indian freedom struggle. They had worked for it. They were known. They were known faces. But even then, Dayanand Bandodkar, because of his personality, because of his approach to the leaders, to the in the villages, approach or to the people in the villages, far corner of Goa, remote corner of Goa. Okay, because of his approach over there, you could say that he formed a connect with the people. Because of his philanthropic way, because of his uh, not having any selfish interest towards his own development, but for the development of people, he spent a lot. Uh, there are many such examples. If you go through Bandodkar's literature, there are many such examples where he has given huge donations for National Defense Army during the Bangladesh war, and to the people of Goa also, those who were in need for scholarship in the educational field, in the social field. So, but he never made an issue of it. He never made a big thing out of it, which is actually, something which is to be learned today. Because today, if you see, it is all about the show, pomp and show, you can say. So there is lots to learn about this personality. And the way he from nowhere became the most popular uh, CM of Goa, and even today he is known for it. It is not that he is gone in history, in the pages of history, and is forgotten over there, but even today, Bhausaheb Bandodkar is remembered for his work, for his achievement, for the way he brought Goa, uh, gave Goa its name, and developed the Bahujan Samaj during that time. So I think I'll stop over here. 30 minutes were given to me, so I think I'll stop over here. If you have any questions to ask, you can ask. Actually, if you start talking about Bandodkar, it will take a lot of time. I have condensed it. I have reduced it to within that particular time frame. So anything, if you want to know, please.
Ma'am, how did he die?
I guess it was a heart attack. He died in office. Yes, heart attack. Uh, who's this person, by the way?
Ma'am, Muskan here.
Muskan. Yeah. Muskan. According to doctor's version, it was a massive heart attack that killed him. Uh, according to the other popular, what you call it, rumors, there was something else that killed him. It was a suicide. That is what they said.
It is said that, ma'am, he had a ring, a diamond ring, something, and he just took it. He swallowed it, something like that.
Yes, even I have heard that story, but since it is not corroborated anywhere, you cannot just talk about it. That is the story. Even I heard that he committed suicide by swallowing his diamond ring. Yes, but let's go to the doctor's version that it was a heart attack. Yes, Siddhant.
Yeah, thank you so much, ma'am, for the wonderful presentation at the outset. My question, ma'am, there are two questions. First question is, ma'am, that we've noticed that when Maharashtrawaddi Gomantak Party won its first election, 1962, if I am not wrong, then it had a strong support base in North Goa, and they got majority votes from North Goa. I think most of their seats, one or two, were in South Goa, and at that time, they considered Bandodkar as their leader, whatever he might have contested the by-election. But subsequently, when we went for the opinion poll, at that point of time, the basic ethos for which Maharashtrawadi Gomantak Party stood for was rejected by the people. I know the margins were close, 53 to 47 something, but opinion poll Maharashtrawadi Gomantak Party, as in the bloc, lost. Now, why was the shift? Because North Goa is predominantly, you can say, culturally or traditionally very much affiliated towards Maharashtra and its working. And my second question, which I'll ask in the same breath, once opinion poll was done where Maharashtrawadi Gomantak Party got the thumping, in the sense the bloc which represented the thought, why did they win the subsequent election?
Why did?
Why did they win the subsequent election, the next election after opinion poll?
Okay, I think the second question of yours, Siddhant, I have already answered. Coming to the first, okay. I did not bring this up in my presentation, but while I was reading on Bandodkar, there were now whether it is true, the writer has written about it, and even the newspapers during that time. Now Gomantak was all for pro Bandodkar and pro MGP, whereas Rashtramat down south was anti-merger and anti-Bandodkar, you can say. But when the opinion poll happened, and as I said, people gave verdict against merging in Maharashtra, and the very concept on which Maharashtra Gomantakwadi party was based, where the very concept was lost. And as I said, the party took time to accept the verdict of the people, but Bandodkar accepted it. Now, one reason for this shift, according to newspapers, okay, and also the book on Bandodkar, that is India's first democratic revolution, written by Parag, it talks about that Bandodkar might have belonged to MGP, a party which was pro merger, but he personally was not a keen mergerist, meaning in his first ministry itself, Bandodkar was able to buy time, because he was able to, the first issue, as I told you about the land reforms, he solved it quickly, meaning he brought the land reforms as soon as MGP won the election. However, the second issue, that is the merger, he took his own sweet time. he said that it was for the center to decide and this and that. So he was taking his time, because according to later on, after the opinion poll, Gomantak, which was pro Bandodkar, it became anti Bandodkar, and Rashtramat, which was anti Bandodkar, became pro Bandodkar, for the simple reason their accusation was that silently Bandodkar was working in the opposite direction of the party to which he belonged. That means silently he was working for not merging Goa with Maharashtra. So that is what I have understood while reading the literature on Bandodkar. Unfortunately, there is not much literature available, but from what I have read on him, this is what came to my notice, surprisingly. I hope that answers your question.
Yes, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Hi, ma'am. I just
Yeah.
wanted to ask a question. Could you tell some of Mr. Bandodkar's relationship with the leader of the opposition, Dr. Jack Sequeira? I heard that they were good friends. So, like, if you could put a
Ryan, you know something?
yes, ma'am.
Politics during that time was not the politics that we play today. You will be surprised to know that these people might be fighting in the assemblies, meaning I'm talking about 1963 to 70 something, okay, that period. They might be fighting in the assemblies, they might be accusing each other, but in the evening you would see him and his opposition having tea and coffee at the tea stall. So that was the relation. So and this is also told to me by my own parents also, that since they belong to that particular period, this is the stories that I have been hearing from this thing, that they might be the rivals in assembly, but otherwise what we see today, the politics, the dirty politics that we play today, this was not present during that time. And that is why, as I told you, though the Congress leaders criticized him left, right, and center during the second and third elections, but naturally it was a ploy to make Bandodkar bad in the eyes of the people and win the election, no doubt. But at the same time, Bandodkar was very cool and calm and never disrespected their contribution. He could have also, said otherwise, that you are this and you are that, but he never did so. He calmly acknowledged their contributions to freedom struggle, Goa's liberation, and kept his cool. That was the relation that the opposition leaders, the speakers of the assembly, Shirodkar, the CM, they had during that time, which we cannot say today.
Yes, ma'am. It's true.
That is why it is necessary, to know about these people, because politics during that time was totally different. When we talk about today, when we are talking about leaders, this is my leader and that is my leader, we have to really ponder upon one thing: is he a leader in the sense of leader? That is what we have to talk about, and that is why learning more or reading more about Bandodkar, or for that matter Jack Sequeira, becomes very, very important.
Teacher, I have one question.
Yes.
During the time Bandodkar was in office, did he face a major protest against him? And if he faced a protest against him, then how did he handle it?
Of course, there were, there were three non-confidence motion against him. He had to face three no confidence motion against him during his tenure. Then, just before opinion poll, a lot of pressure was put on him for the merger of Goa. But one can say that the popularity of Bandodkar with the people was so much, and he had that particular tactic, to bring the opposition also, to cajole the opposition, you can say, uh, and make them listen to your viewpoint. He had that particular क्या बोलते हैं उसको trait. Okay, so the book itself tells you that during the no confidence motion, surprisingly, he won it for the simple reason, at the end moment of the time, the people who were opposing him surprisingly either remained, neutral, or voted for him instead of not voting, or instead of going for no confidence. So that is how Bandodkar came out of each and every no confidence motion.
Okay, ma'am, I think we can take one more question and then we can wind up. But before that, let me inform to everyone that there is a feedback form that has been put in the chat box. Please do fill it out, and you'll be given this e-certificate on your mail. Okay, so thank you. We can take one more question and then we can wind up. Yes. Any more questions or comment or observation? Anything?
Ramrai, they want you to post the link once again.
Yes, ma'am. I'm doing that. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, if no other question, then if I may ask one question. Ma'am, do you see this legacy of Bandodkar being continued by the current MGP?
You want my personal opinion?
Yes, anything, ma'am.
That's
You can even answer with one word.
I'll answer with two alphabets actually, and O. I don't think so.
Okay.
Because as I said, the politics which were played during that time and politics that is played today is very, very different. It is two extreme poles, you can say. And I don't see any other leader having the qualities of Bandodkar at present, to tell you the truth, in Goa. So
Okay.
I don't think so, no.
Okay. So Naresh, if you have your question, please be very brief and ask your question. Naresh? Okay, I think it was by mistake. So thank you, ma'am, for taking us this on this topic, simplifying it right throughout this timeline, giving us the important events which actually made Bandodkar what the leader he was. Now I would quickly request my colleague Siddhesh Tari to give the vote of thanks.
Ramrai, before that, again, I would like to, thank you for giving me this chance to address this on this topic and on this platform. So thank you once again. Thank you very much.
Yes. Siddhesh, over to you. Please give the vote of thanks. Yes.
Hello, good evening, everyone. It is my privilege to propose vote of thanks for the session on Dayanand Bandodkar organized by the Center for Political Leadership of VM Salgaocar College of Law. I would like to thank our keynote speaker, Professor Meghana Kapdi, Assistant Professor from VM Salgaocar College of Law, for taking out time from her busy schedule and taking part in this discussion. I'm also thankful to my friend come colleague Ramrai and Naik for moderating this session. And lastly, I would say that this program would have never happened without you participants. Okay, as you all were very supportive, and I hope you all had a good experience. Okay, and thank you one and all.
Thank you, Siddhesh.
Okay. Thank you.
I think we can leave, right?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Okay. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Yes.
Bye.
Yes.